if you are not asexual and you are interested in someone who is asexual, taking that time to build that trust and build that friendship is just a great way to start the foundation for a romantic relationship. And always go in with the best intentions, because going into anything where you sit there and you say, I'm only befriending this person for a romantic relationship, is just gonna the whole thing's gonna tumble.
Looking for a player too? Welcome to the Date Like a Nerd podcast, where your gamer skills, dice rolls, and cosplay are your greatest dating assets. I'm Alex, and I'm a dating coach who helps shy, introverted nerds find their player too organically. I've interviewed hundreds of nerds and learned what really works. Here we skip the just be confident cliches and get real about how nerds actually meet their player too. Are you ready? Hey everyone, I'm Alex, and I help shy, introverted nerds get over their fears and anxieties to find their player too. The idea is to address some of your questions, dispel some myths, and hear about the many different ways that nerds can find real relationships. Elyse, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you mentioned being asexual, and that's something that I mentioned to you that I want to talk about. So what kind of challenges were you facing when dating? Because that's not, let's say, the norm, or that's not the majority of people, right? Like in my case, if you tell me I'm asexual, I'll be like, cool, let's be great friends.
Yeah. I was always really scared because, growing up, we didn't have a word for it. And I spent a majority of preteen to adulthood pretending to have crushes on people just because that was the social norm, especially since especially in middle school when people were like, who do you have a crush on? And I would sit there and be like, literally no one. Like, why would I? But as I got older, it was really scary because I was honestly truly terrified of interacting with anybody and sex being put on the table. And I'm just like, okay, but I'm not interested. And then you get people's reactions to asexuality. And it is hard because people say really insensitive stuff. And it's always like, oh, you've never been with the right person. And it always comes with unknowingly, they say a lot of things that are basically sexual assault. And I'm just like, they're like, you need to have sex with me. I'll show you a good time. And I'm just like, no, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that at all. Yeah. So I didn't want to. I actually, my last relationship I had before Matt was very abusive. He was not a good guy. And honestly, after that relationship, I was ready just to be not alone, but just I was just like, okay, that was my last relationship. I'm done. That was it. And that's fine. I wasn't sad about thinking about a future without a romantic partner. Because I already had plans. I was just like, okay, I know what, I'm really passionate about adoption and fostering. And so I already have a life plan. So it doesn't me not having a romantic partner. I don't care. It's whatever. But then then Matt came back into my life, and now I can't picture a life without a romantic partner, but it's definitely a conversation that had to be had. And because I'm so loud about being asexual, he also already knew that about me. But past partners, when I didn't have a word for it, it was always conversations about it always there's something wrong with me. It was, and they always blamed it. They always put this pressure on me, and it was very difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine. When you were first talking, up until the up until when you said, oh, like you have to be with me, up until that point, I was like, well, like in my case, I've never drunk alcohol. And I kept hearing like, oh, when you're 18, then, oh, when you're 21, oh, when you're 25, I'm 37. I still don't like alcohol. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't have anyone
I
telling me
don't like,
you,
I don't
I mean,
drink alcohol either.
yeah, like, I mean, I have had people who are like, oh, but you tried this, you tried that. Like, you just haven't like tried the right kind of alcohol. I never had anyone tell me like, you haven't tried me. That would be weird. um, but yeah, it's like for most people, it's if you don't fit into my norm, not the norm, right? Because like for many things, there's the norm and there's my norm. So if you don't fit into my norm, then there's either something wrong with you or you're just not there yet.
Yeah.
Right. And I can imagine with like partners, especially like without having a word for it. And words like, I mean, it's just a concept, it's a construct, but at least it helps you define to be like, okay, when I say this word, you understand all these things through it. I can totally imagine like being with someone, like in my case, I would be like, if we can have, like, if you're not into sex, to me, that's takes away half of the fun of being in a relationship. But I wouldn't say there's something wrong with you, right? It'd be like, we're just not a good match.
Yeah.
I had a partner who had never had an orgasm and she was like super ashamed about it. And I was like, look, it's like, if you want help, I'll do my best. You tell me what to do and we'll give it a shot. But if you're fine with it, I'm fine with it. Like there's lots of stuff we can do. And I can't remember exactly, but I think she said I was either the only one or one of the very few partners she had that was fine with it. That wasn't like putting pressure on like, oh, I have to make this happen. Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I can absolutely see how that can be not only frustrating, but also terrifying, especially as a woman.
Yeah, it is. It gets really, especially as it gets so scary that like, especially since it came from cis men, it got scary because like, I don't know where the joke ends, but I better laugh because if I don't laugh, like, I don't know what might come out of it if I don't laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you get into a deeper relationship, will they like start getting frustrated and will start like putting pressure on you? And that's not something that you want.
Yeah, it's not. And it's just this whole fear. And I had a friend after one relationship I was in that ended, she was just like, oh, this is your time. Go out there, have fun, like have a one night stand. And again, it was at a time when I didn't have a word for how I felt. And like, even the thought of a one night stand, and like, I'm sitting here, like, I support my sex worker friends. I support, like, I do, like, I love all of them and what they do. But I'm just like, I sat there and I was just like, a one night stand sounds like the worst thing imaginable. It sounds terrible. I would never want that. And it wasn't like coming from a place of like, only have sex after marriage. It just like how I was feeling inside. And it's just something I couldn't do.
Yeah. And like, I mean, you don't have to, right? Like, I'm not into one stands. Every now and then I'd be like, oh, like, she's so hot, whatever. And then I could turn her and like, yeah, no, like if I can't have an emotional connection, I'm not really interested. But yeah, there is that idea of like even for like a guy, you have the, oh, just go and sleep with her and that's it. Like, I just, no, not interested, not my thing. But you have to be very convinced about what you like and what you don't like. And you have to be very okay with not finding the people that like the same thing as you.
Yeah, it's all about like the communication. Because like my last relationship, which wasn't great, I let him know. I was just like, hey, I'm asexual, because that's when I started to like find the word and find the community. And at first he said it was like fine and he didn't care, but like later down the line he did care, and he had like all these assumptions about like, oh, he was going to be different, and like he could change me, and he could do this and he could do that. And I was just like, no, you literally, you can't. And so, um, but it's so important to have the conversation to find that middle ground. And it's okay if the middle ground isn't there. And it's okay if like, you feel chemistry, but the people's like having the same sex drive or having like same level of sex drive is important to a relationship. And I can respect that. And if someone says they're asexual, and depending on the scale because there's all different types of asexual, it's just something that needs to be put out on the table and discussed, because and there's nothing wrong with it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and that's totally fine, because at the end of the day you could just have made a really good friend.
Yeah. At what point did you tell like partners or potential partners? Like, I don't know if you try dating apps or just meeting people in person. Like, when did you tell them like, look, this is a thing for me. If you want to be with me, just know that.
So the only two people I told about being asexual was my last partner and Matt.
Okay.
Before that, I didn't really have a word for it.
Okay. And with the previous relationship, when did you tell him?
For my relationship before?
Yeah.
I think I told him a little bit further into the relationship, because that's when I like found the word and found something that described how I felt. Because before I always just like described it, I'm just like I have a low libido, and like that's how I described it. But then I was just like, but that doesn't fit at all. That isn't describing.
Right.
But on the other hand, Matt knew beforehand, before we got into a relationship, because we were friends. So he saw me on the journey. He saw me, like, he saw my posts. We had conversations. So he already knew before.
Yeah, no, I can imagine how not having a word would make an issue within the relationship, and having a word for it would make it an issue before you get into a relationship, right? Because if you said like, oh, by the way, people right there and then, they can be like, okay, it's for me, it's not for me, which I think is a good thing, because you're filtering people out. But it also means that your pool shrinks. Like the amount of options you have shrinks a lot.
Yeah.
How do you maybe you've no idea, but I guess if you're within the community, for someone who defines themselves as asexual, what do you suggest for them to find a partner? Let's say, what would be a better way than, let's say, dating apps? Because I can imagine that 99% people on dating apps, I don't know what the percentage of asexual people is like worldwide.
I'm not sure. But as an avid reader, my favorite tropes are friends to lovers and slow burns, which is so funny because Matt and I are a 10-year slow burn and definitely friends to lovers. But I think that's what's worked best for me, is the friends to lovers, because I've had other relationships in the past that it did take time to build up to get romantic feelings. And and I didn't realize that was like part of being asexual, especially like on the demisexual side. But because I built so much trust with Matt, I was able to develop these romantic feelings. And he, in turn, built so much trust with me. And we were able to build this foundation in our relationship to have these romantic feelings and feel secure in them. So I'm a big fan of friends first. Like, so if you're in like a nerdy community, like, and this is what's so great about cosplay, is you can meet a fellow cosplayer and you can be like, oh my God, I love your cosplay. Can we connect on like Instagram? Can we connect on whatever social media app you use? Because like, I love this character and I would like love to talk about them. I would love to talk about the series. I would love to talk about this or that. And then you can build that friendship. And I think it's important for people, especially if you are not asexual and you are interested in someone who is asexual, taking that time to build that trust and build that friendship is just a great way to start the foundation for a romantic relationship. And always go in with the best intentions, because going into anything where you sit there and you say, I'm only befriending this person for a romantic relationship, is just gonna have, the whole thing's gonna tumble. It's because like I've had that happen to me, and it's gross. I feel disgusting. I had somebody literally tell me he only hung out with me because he wanted to sleep with me. And I needed to shower for like 7 hours to get that grossness off of me, because I felt gross because I trusted this guy. I thought he was my friend, and like finding out that he only wanted to sleep with me, and like, and there goes the whole, that guy is not in my life. I blocked him everywhere. He tried to contact me again, and I was like, absolutely not. And I told my friends, like, I named him, I name dropped him to friends. I was just like, oh, you're friends with him? He told me this. And they were like, oh, that's not okay. Like, that's not. And like, he lost a lot of friends because he did that. So always go in with the best intentions. Go in for a friendship, and you can always hope for something more. There's nothing wrong with that. But be honest.
I think I have so much to say. I think let's go backwards. I think one of the reasons why some people go in with, let's say, the sexual intention first is because they don't want to be friend zoned. It's like, I mean, and part of the dating advice that I don't like is you have to move as fast as you can, because if you go into the friend zone, then you're stuck there, right? And what I have experienced and what I'm seeing doing these interviews, and you're the first asexual person that I've met, and I don't really know that many people who are asexual, so I can't really say whether that's a part of it or not. But I notice the same thing that you're describing, right? Like for most of the people coming on the show and for most of my friends, and I have an episode that's by the time this releases, that's already come out about the Tolkien Association, which is where I had all my friends. We all took some time to be friends before we started dating, right? That's also why I have trouble dating now, because I'm a digital nomad. I move really fast from place to place. And I like taking my time to get to know someone, see what they're like, and, you know, say like, do I want to be with this person more time or not? Sometimes it clicks like that, which is super rare for me. But for the most part, most of my partners were friends for quite a while. And so that's something that I've noticed within the nerd people that I know, which is it's usually a slow burn. We start as friends, we get to know each other, and then it's like, oh, I actually like you, and we start dating. So I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if some asexual are nerds and that's why it fits, and the nerd is the part. I don't know which one's which. I'm just saying I have noticed the same thing even with people who are not asexual. And the other thing is, with this interview about the Tolkien Association, we were mentioning that almost everybody that I knew within that group dated or had something, fling or something with people within the community, within the association, except for those who went there wanting to date or wanting to sleep with someone. Those got rejected straight away.
Yeah.
Because that's not what we were there for, right? Like,
yeah.
One of my friends, Virginia, I have 2 interviews about that. The first one that we're talking about our experience with the Tolkien Association. I've been good friends with her for 23 years at this point. And we were saying how like there was this one guy who just wanted to sleep with all the women that there were. And whenever we were chatting, he would come and chat with her without including me.
Oof.
And I was saying how if he had gotten along with me, he could have hung out with her more, right? Mm-hmm. Because like I went to her house, we met like pretty much, I don't know, every week or every couple of weeks with her and her friends, and I would go to her house and she would come to mine. Like even to this day, like when I'm back in Argentina, she goes to my parents' place, and he didn't get to because he was so focused on sleeping with her that he didn't make friends with me, that he could have been part of the group and he could have gotten to know her more. Now, that doesn't mean that you would become friends with everyone just to sleep with someone. But it does mean that if you become friends with people and get to know them more, then you have a much better chance of at least getting closer to that person, getting to know them.
Yeah. I have a example that like of one. I had a friend who did want to take our relationship from a friendship to a romantic one, and it didn't work out. But thank God it didn't, because he married my best friend, and they have a kid together. So, like,
great.
Yeah. He asked me out well before he had feelings for her, because at the time she was engaged to a complete douchebag. And yeah, that was very funny when they got together, because so she broke it off with her fiance, and she was staying with me at the time. And we went to our friend's housewarming party, and I was driving, and she's just like, "Oh, I think I have a crush on Tyler." And I was just like, "That's fine. You guys are super cute together. I love it. However, no, you just got out of a relationship. I'm for this. Listen, you guys are going to be perfect together. However, please, 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 please take some time for yourself. You were with this guy for 7 years. Just please take some time." And literally the next day, Tyler comes over to my house and he's like, "Hey, Elyse, can we hang out?" And I was just like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Hey, I think I have a crush on Allison." I'm like, "Wonderful. Don't touch her. Don't look at her. Don't talk to her. Give her space. I swear to God, if I will punch you." But they got married, and it
Great.
started with him asking me out first.
It happens. Like it totally happens. Yeah. I absolutely love it. Cool. I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you so much for this. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy to talk about asexual, and because like I felt so weird and the odd man out for so long in my life, because like I never experienced the feelings that everybody else around me was experiencing, or at least talking about. So I assumed everybody was experiencing it. So I felt so weird, and it felt lonely. So anything to make sure that like nobody else feels lonely, that like these feelings or lack thereof are completely normal and it's okay. And it's wonderful.
Yeah. And whether you have a label for it or not,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. It's the
Yeah.
way you want to move in the world. And as long as it doesn't affect anyone else, it's fine. Like I keep seeing people being like, I am labeled, therefore whatever. And I'm like, you don't need that. If the label makes you feel good and it helps you communicate with people, great. But I don't feel like you have to have a label to have a valid feeling or a valid want. You know,
Yeah.
like even if you didn't have a word for it, you should have been able to say, look, I'm not interested in this. Period. You know? So yeah, like whether it is asexual, whether it is that anything else that you don't want to do, not having a label should be enough. Still be enough for people to respect your boundaries.
Exactly.
That's
so
it.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. And you will still find someone who likes you that way.
Yeah, I did.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you so much, Elyse, for coming.
This
has been amazing. And everyone else, if you have questions for her, for past guests, or if there's something that you want me to ask future guests, please let me know. And Elyse, your handle is Princess Bilbo everywhere?
Yes. Everywhere. Awesome. I am Princess Bilbo. I found a handle and I stuck with it. I stuck with that handle.
Perfect. So if you want to get in touch with her, she's got great content on cosplaying and books, and I saw some cooking stuff as well. So
I'm a very avid baker.
Yeah. And I love how it's like, I was watching one, like melting the chocolate and here's this book and doing this and here's this book and we're doing that and here's this book. Like, okay, that's an interesting way to do it.
Lots of books.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Take care. Everyone else as well. Please take care. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Looking for a player too? I've interviewed hundreds of nerds and learned what really works. Download your data-backed guide with real stories, actionable tips, and a step-by-step system for finding love the nerd way at datelikeanerd.com/reality.